Hello there, my name is Dan and the main purpose of my channel is to show people how to grow their own fruit and vegetables no matter what size garden, allotment or growing space they do indeed have. So over the last few years I've been working on a partial self-sufficiency project here in Essex, UK, and if you like my work please feel free to like and share, and if you'd like to be notified of any videos I've got coming up please feel free to subscribe. So today I'm going to be answering some questions and I'm also going to do a tour. So let's go. Now we'll start with the subject of Lakemont Seedless grapes. So many of you are aware I'm very fond of this variety of grape. Grows very well here in the UK, and if you check out my grape playlist you'll see a Lakemont Seedless vine I had a few years ago, and it used to produce so many bunches of grapes. So there we are. Now had a question, when are Lakemont Seedless grapes ready? So in general they're ready in September. Okay, of course this will depend on what part of the country, what part of the world you're in. Now here in the southeast we tend to get some of the more favourable weather for growing grapes here in the UK. Now they're up against a warm fence, meaning it faces the sun. Okay, south facing, southwest facing is great for this. A brick wall is very good as well. Grapes appreciate a nice warm microclimate, so also if you've got them growing in a greenhouse or a polytunnel they'll also ripen a little bit quicker. So there you go, good microclimate, very beneficial for grapes. Now generally ready in September. Now the way that you do this, okay, so you pick one and just gently test them. Okay, now these are perfectly edible, but they're not quite there yet. They'll benefit from about another week or two. Now you can see what I've done is remove some of the leaves. I did this about 2 weeks or a month ago. It's generally advised with regards to growing grapes that you remove some leaves around them about a month before they're expected to ripen. So look up your grape variety when it's expected to ripen and then remove some of the leaves about a month before that due date. Okay, but what this does is then it allows the sun to get to the grapes better, sweeten them by increasing the sugar content, and it can also help to ripen them quicker. And this is a good thing to do whether they are wine grapes or dessert grapes. Okay, so there we are. Now I'll just show you what they look like. The bunches are looking really good. Now of course if you're living in a cooler part of the UK, such as further north, somewhere like that, now the chances are they'll take a little bit longer. But on the other hand, if you're growing them here in the south east and they're not in the great place in the terms of the amount of sun they get, they might take a bit longer around here as well. So just be mindful. Now Lakemont Seedless, they tend to be a lovely, almost a little bit yellowish when they're ready. So you can see that these are not quite that just yet. So be patient, don't pick them too early, because if you go doing things like that then you're cheating yourself out of a beautiful experience, and we don't want that. So Concord Pears, now these are a great variety of pear to grow, nice, and they're generally ready late September into October. Okay, now the weather was quite warm earlier in the year. Now these are perfectly edible now. Once again they'll benefit from another 2 to 3 weeks, maybe even a month on there to really get that nice pear taste. But if push came to shove, these would be ready now. Now you can see that this is carrying an absolutely huge crop, and the pears are small, and a lot of this will be to do with the fact that it was a dry year. Okay, didn't get much rain for a while, so they couldn't get big in size. On the other hand, it might be just because the tree wanted to set a larger crop of smaller pears, and I didn't remove any. I just let them do their thing, and I'm quite happy actually, to be honest, with just the sheer amount on there. There's probably about 30 or 40 on there. Now this is a winter vegetable and salad bed. So you can see I've got lettuces here. These are variety all the year round. This is winter density, okay? And over here I've got chard. Now it's good to have beds like this, establishing now, getting to a good size. Leave them alone, okay? Because you want these to get probably about twice as big as these before the days get shorter and the temperature gets colder, okay, because the growth will slow considerably when that happens. So you want to have them a good size so that you've got a nice bit of veg to pick during the winter period. Now many of you are aware I set these the other day, so I've got some lettuce here and some chard as well. Now what I'm hoping is that these will get to a good size. In the case of the chard, you know, up to here by the time the days get shorter and it gets cooler, and then, or colder, and then that way I'll have some good pickings to eat throughout the winter. Now, as I go into my polytunnel here, what I like to have is some things all ready to come good soon. So I've got some chard here and some chard here, which I sowed the other day, okay? And this should be ready when some space comes up, which I'll show you in a moment, that I can put straight in. So once again, you know, great winter crops all ready to come. Now down here, I've got my Bennings Green Tint Patty Pan Squash. Now, not quite, they're a bit slow, they're a bit on the drag, that's the technical term, for producing this year, so we'll see how they do. Hopefully the weather will stay warm enough for here you go, there's one there, look, that's not a bad one, is it? Hopefully the weather will stay warm enough for these, you know, to produce late September into October. That'd be great. But what I'll do is, when these are finished, or if they don't come to anything, when them seedlings of chard are ready, they'll be going in here for, once again, another vegetable bed for winter food. So this here is a tayberry, okay? Now, many of you may remember the huge crop of tayberries I've had this year. Now, this is one of my tayberry brambles, if you want to call them that. Now, they produce on the previous year's growth, okay? So you can see this here was where the crop was. Now, this is last year's growth. You can see what it looks like. It looks sort of past its best, and this has got to be removed. Now, this is a piece of this year's growth, okay? So you can see what that looks like. Now, what I need to do is leave that, because that's what I'll get the fruit on, okay? Blackberries are the same as this, loganberries and tayberries as well. They fruit on the previous year's growth, so what you do is you remove the canes or the brambles, whatever, that produced the fruit this year, to allow the ones that grew this year to fruit lovely next year. How about that then? You can see that I've done it here, okay? So this is all of this year's growth, and this will fruit beautifully next year. Now I'm going to pick a melon, okay? So this is Petit Gris de Raw. Now, unfortunately, I've noticed that some ants have got into this one, so I'm going to be cutting this open, and we'll, you know, I'm going to eat this. I think there's another one on here, so I'll be able to cut one open for you so you can see what they're like. But my previous one was absolutely lovely, and many of you are aware I sampled a sweet granite on here the other day. So sweet granite and Petit Gris de Raw are great melons. Now, the question the other day regarding winemaking, am I going to get into it? Well, I do intend to get into winemaking. I don't know much about it. I've got to invest the time in doing that. Now, the amount of grapes I produce this year, I'll certainly be able to eat. But many of you are aware of the volume of vines that I've got and the amount of grapes I will eventually be getting. So yes, I will be getting into making wine. But of course, it'll be nice, you know, to see the different comparisons of the different varieties of grape I'm growing, to see what sort of wine they make. Now, a few years ago, a friend of mine actually took some of my Lakemont Seedless and Muscat Blanc grapes that I grew at a previous project, and that wine is ready. So it'll be quite interesting to see what that tastes like. But of course, with all the recent events and all that sort of thing, haven't been able to get it. But there we go. Okay then, peeps. So I hope you enjoyed that video, and of course, if you like my work, please feel free to like, share and subscribe. And you can always check me out on Dan_Home Gardens on Instagram if indeed you're interested. Questions down below, please. I'm spending more time on YouTube now, so hey ho, there we go. See you next time. Thanks for viewing.